Today we are going to be looking at the all-new Hyundai Santa Cruz, and this vehicle essentially equates to the mullet. It's business in the front and party in the back. If you want one of these, this one in particular is going to cost you around $41,000.
$41,000?
I mean, this is the top of the line of this model, so it has all the gadgets you want to see from the higher end vehicles.
Okay, that's a good point. This is Hyundai's first stab at a pickup truck, so what do you say we take a look, Colin, and see how they did?
Let's get into it. Now you join me here at the front of the Santa Cruz, and the first thing we're going to talk about are these headlights. Very angular design, and these are LED automatic headlights as well as LED daytime running lights. And a cool thing Hyundai did around their daytime running lights is they really leaned into what the modern truck design is, having these very square angles. Does give it a very truck-like look and can maybe help sway some of the doubters that this is a capable truck. The last thing we wanted to talk about on the front here is your grille. There's a lot of space in between each of the individual brackets. And I know that's kind of a look that some people don't prefer, so that's one thing you do want to pay attention to. Moving along to the side of the Santa Cruz, we'll first start around your wheel well, where they have this black plastic, which has this triangular pattern engraved into it. It's a unique look and it's very over stylized, but I kind of like it for this vehicle. Another cool thing in this black plastic is there's a little diagram of the truck itself. That's kind of a cool little quirky feature about this vehicle. Moving down, you have these 20-inch alloy wheels, and the black color on this wheel looks very good with the phantom black that this car is painted in. Moving back to your mirrors, these are heated, but they are not power folding, which is something that you will see on a lot of trucks. So if Hyundai wants to start moving into that truck market, that's something they might want to consider. Another feature missing off of this particular model that other Hyundais have is when you switch to reverse, the mirrors will tilt down so you can see a bit lower. And this does not have that. That'd be a very nice feature for them to integrate into the Santa Cruz. This does have keyless entry. So if Jake will toss me the key, as you see, once it comes into range, the vehicle will unlock. Very useful feature. As you move back, one thing Jake noticed is just how large this C-pillar is. You look at my forearm compared to it, it's a bit longer than my forearm with my fingers out. There's a very long C-pillar, but it works well with the body shape of the vehicle. Let's talk about the back of the Santa Cruz. As we mentioned on the front of the vehicle, Hyundai really leaned into some of the modern tropes of the truck market. And they did that again on the back, having the name of the vehicle indented along the lower part of the tailgate. And not just that, they doubled down and indented Hyundai up here on the tailgate handle. Very cool feature that really does drive this vehicle home as being a truck. Of course, you have some amenities on the back. The LED taillights are a very nice feature to have. And the last thing that kind of continues from the rest of the vehicle is this triangular pattern, which was present on the side of the vehicles around the wheel wells, is here on the bumper. And once again, you do have the oversimplified logo of the vehicle right there. Of course, the most important feature of any truck is going to be the bed. Now, this one does have the automatic tailgate release, which you can use on the key. Once you press this button, the tailgate will just drop automatically and it is dampened. Now, this does have the built-in tonneau cover and it can be a bit hard to get off at first. But what you want to do is find the lock underneath the latch. If you twist that, you can grab the latch and close the tonneau cover. Getting into the tailgate, you have these nice little footsteps right here, which allow you to just easily get in. In the tailgate, you're gonna have about 52 inches of space. That is not a lot of space, but for a truck like this, you're most likely gonna be hauling mulch or other small things, which would easily fit within that space constraint. And one thing Hyundai has talked about is mountain bikes and what you would do if you had those. Now, we've talked about that, potentially trying to put a rack up there where there isn't really a good place to attach. Of course, with a mountain bike being about 68 inches in length, you're not going to be able to fit it here without removing most likely both tires, which can be a pain to do. So the best thing to do if you want to haul a mountain bike in this would be to get a tailgate cover, and then you can dangle the front tire over the tailgate while having the back in the truck, and that should fit. Other nice amenities in the tailgate are a nice full outlet right here. It is a bit annoying that it is behind that compartment, but it is nice to at least have one. You do also have several tie downs as well as the LED bed lights. Very nice feature to have, and for this vehicle's size, this tailgate does a pretty great job.
Also in the trunk, because this vehicle is unibody and doesn't have frame rails running underneath, they were able to put in a trunk. So you just reach under and up goes the top to reveal this little space. So this could be great for groceries or something. And something interesting to note is that it is large enough you could reasonably fit a tiny human in here, so they are required to put the glow-in-the-dark little release right there.
When advertising this vehicle, one thing Hyundai mentioned is that you can stand on top of the tonneau cover. Now that does seem like a bit of a stretch, but we are going to test it. Now I am about 150 pounds, and when I stand up here, I can definitely feel it starting to give a little. It's not at any real risk of collapsing under my weight, but since you're never gonna have to stand up here, if you're anything above, I'd say 160 or 170, I would not suggest coming up here. I'm Colin Hawkins, this is Guzzler Reviews. Like and subscribe. Now let's get back into it. Under the hood of this Santa Cruz, you will find a turbocharged 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. It's going to give you about 281 horsepower with about 311 pound-feet of torque. For gas mileage, you're going to get about 19 city and 27 highway. Between highway driving and the rally today, we got around 21.6 miles per gallon, which is on the lower end of that range, but we did do a wide variety of driving. And with this engine, you'll be able to tow about 5,000 pounds. On the lower trims of the vehicle, you will find a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. This one's gonna produce about 191 horsepower with about 181 pound-feet of torque. It's going to allow you to tow about 3,500 pounds. In terms of the safety features available on the Santa Cruz, you're going to find a lot of what you come to expect from Hyundai's vehicles. You're going to find forward collision warning, which from the rally today we proved does work. The lane keep assist was also very good during today's rally. It does also have rear cross traffic alert, the driver attention monitoring, so if you're using that lane keep assist and you start to not hold the steering wheel, it will flash on your screen that you need to remake contact with the steering wheel. And the last safety feature is going to be blind spot monitoring.
And now you all join me here on the interior of the Santa Cruz. The materials they chose were very good. You have soft touch all along the top. Remember, this vehicle is close to $41,000, so it better be nice. You have some good cloth along the front of your passenger area, and that runs along the door. Again, creating a really nice premium feel, especially with the black colors going on. There is an extensive use of glossy black plastic along your doors and along your center stack, so if you are bothered by dirt, that is something to take into consideration. The leathers in the vehicle feel pretty good on your steering wheel and on your seats. The seats, unfortunately, are not very good. We have taken a long trip in this car. I can say I was repositioning myself. I was not very comfortable in them. However, they are heated and cooled, which is a great functionality you love to see. On top of that, I do want to mention that there have been some issues with build quality in this vehicle. However, most of them can probably be attributed to the fact that this is a very early production model. For example, some of the stitching in the vehicle, it goes diagonally, it's not straight. In addition, the hood kind of jumps up and down even when it's fully locked and closed on the highway, and there is condensation in the taillights in the morning. but this is, as far as we can tell, a very early production model, so just those issues will likely go away. On top of that, the general feel of the vehicle, the design is very nice and premium, lots of long flowing lines. Overall, I'm really a fan of what they've done here. So I'm not sure if you guys can make out the screen. It's very dim with it's not nearly this dim in real life. I have not had a single problem with dimness. This is just for some reason it shows up on camera like this. I'm not sure what you all can make out, but this is not very customizable. All you really have is your trip info along with those two gauges there. The coolest feature is when you put the turn signal on, a camera view will come on. You can see our tachometer has become a camera view showing the right side of the car. Again, I'm sorry this is showing up so dark on film. We've tried to make it look as good as we can. Just know that it is not that dark in real life and is much more usable. Guys, here's your infotainment. Again, apologies if it is extremely dim. There is no problem with the screen brightness in real life. You can see your home screen right here has a little bit of a map view along with the weather. This is an extremely snappy screen. One of the snappiest I've ever used. Is just like a smartphone. Every other manufacturer has to be here or they are far behind. And frankly, there are a lot of luxury manufacturers that are not even close to this. There's not too much interesting stuff here. Of course, you have the typical valet mode, you have your radio, you have connection to Sirius XM, you can get gas prices, traffic, Doppler radar, all of that good stuff. There's phone projection with widescreen Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. There is some neat stuff though. For example, if you go to media, you can play the sounds of nature, which I can't get up right now because we have a paired phone, but you can play like woods noises or snow noises, things like that. It's all controlled through these capacitive buttons down here. They do work, they don't seem to have any sensitivity issues, but if you don't like buttons or if you don't like capacitive buttons, that's just something to note. Here you can see your camera views. Right now the vehicle's in reverse. You can see we do have guidance, so this view would be really good for hitching up a trailer. You can see just a regular backup camera or make sure you don't curve the vehicle. Now if I put the vehicle in drive, then we'll get a different view. So now you can see as I turn the wheel, you can see the front wheels turning. That's gonna be great for making sure we don't curve the vehicle. You have a front camera and then you also have front guidance right there. So some really nice features on the camera system of this vehicle. And now let's talk about the center stack. Starting with just below your infotainment, you're gonna find a Qi wireless charger along with a place to throw some coins. It's pretty sizable, which is great. You have two USB-A ports along with a 12-volt cigarette lighter. I would like to see some USB-C and some future-proofing there. There's also a nice little blue ambient light. You have the really wide shifter. I love these shifters because it makes me feel like I'm an airplane pilot almost with how wide the shifter is. And people will like the traditional shifter. A lot of people don't like the buttons and whatnot, so it's nice to know you have that here. You do have two cup holders with the little nubs that we love to see here at Gas Guzzlers. These are the best kinds of nubs, the spring-loaded ones. You have an electronic parking brake, a drive mode controller, which has 4 modes in this vehicle: snow, sport, normal, and smart. Smart tries to figure out what you want and gives you it. Normal is a typical driving experience. Snow is going to do things like maybe start you in a higher gear, keep the RPMs a little lower, and then your sport is going to keep those RPMs higher and maybe wait a little bit more to shift. You have a electronic differential in this vehicle. On top of that, you have an auto hold function, and you do have a camera button, which will show you that in a separate clip. And then you have hill descent control, which is a great off-roading feature. As I mentioned, this vehicle has heated and cooled seats. It also has a heated steering wheel, and you have a fairly sizable center cubby. The rear of the vehicle is an okay place to be. Let me start with the positive. First of all, you have plenty of legroom, which is awesome. You have lots of legroom, no matter where or how tall the front passenger is or where they're sitting. So that is really great. You do have 2 air vents back here. In addition, you have 2 USB-A ports. Now, things that aren't so great. First of all, it's really nice to see USB-C. A lot of vehicles have them now. That's becoming the new standard. On top of that, there is no center pull out in this vehicle. You don't have an armrest or anything. Again, this is a higher trim vehicle. It should be coming with those features. On top of that, no door pockets down here. And the speakers back here are pretty weak relative to what is up front. And again, the seats are not that comfortable back here, just like up front. So it's not a great place. However, it is certainly a usable place. One other thing that's not great about back here is due to the huge thickness of the C-pillar and the aggressive cut in the window line, it feels like a cave back here. It's very dark and it just feels like you're really enclosed and you're in a much smaller space than you really are. So real props to Hyundai for fitting so much into such a small package in terms of space, but the execution of it could be a lot better. There are some really neat storage options throughout this vehicle. One of them is right here in the back. You can open up the second row seats by pulling a latch, and that reveals a little bucket.
At the beginning of this video, we compared the Santa Cruz to the mullet. And that might sound like a bad thing given how hideous of a haircut the mullet is, but it's actually not. This vehicle has a lot to offer in a very fun package. If you compare it to a full-size truck, even fully loaded, it is cheaper. So if you want to have all the truck capabilities, the towing and the bed space, this might be for you if you're not willing to pay nearly as much for a full-size truck. What do you think, Jake?
Absolutely, Colin. You couldn't have said it better. I think that this truck is an excellent choice, frankly, for people who do actually wear mullets, you know, the adventurer who goes out there, the people who maybe also do have a job and want to, you know, need a safe, reliable mode of transportation that Hyundai's known for providing, but also want that good road tripping vehicle, that vehicle that's going to let them go mountain biking. This is really for that all-encompassing person who does a little bit of everything. This truck's great for them.
If you like this video and videos like it, make sure to like and subscribe for more weekly content. We'll see you next time.